Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Green here with No More News. Thank you for joining me once again today, Tuesday, April 14th, 2026. We got so much to cover today. More on Trump's quote-unquote blasphemy, demonic possession blasphemy, as they're saying. We're going to watch a clip of Professor Zhang, the Duganist's new theory about Donald Trump secretly hating and holding a grudge against Jared Kushner and setting him up to be the scapegoat in some 4D chess plot. And we've got some Cosmic Jesus stuff we're going to go over, some Bart Ehrman clips as well. And maybe if we have time, we'll get into some of the Instagram bookmarks that I have saved I want to discuss with you guys. You know what to do. You know how it goes. The only thing that makes this show possible, it would not be here without you guys. powerchat.live/no-more-news in the live chat where we're streaming on Odyssey and Rumble. And in the description below, every dollar helps. The show is only made possible thanks to you guys. No sponsors. No commercials. We haven't been hitting the goal the last few streams, so let's try to get it done today. Okay, first with J.D. Vance responding to all of the backlash Trump got for posting himself depicted as Jesus, which I think they did on purpose. I think they knew everybody would chimp out about this. Everybody would pearl clutch. They would all be so insulted and offended. They would all call him Antichrist and blasphemous. And then to make matters worse, he insults everybody's intelligence and pretends like, I thought it was a doctor. And now J.D. Vance says it was a joke. So was it a joke or did he think it was a doctor? Little contradictory there. Here's Vance.
Truth Social. The president took to Truth Social saying Leo should be thankful because, as everyone knows, he was a shocking surprise. He wasn't on any list to be Pope. Was only put there because of the church, because he was an American. They thought he would be good. Best way to deal with President Donald J. Trump. If I wasn't in the White House, Leo wouldn't be in the.
J.D. Vance is Catholic, for context, and has visited the Pope, I believe, on numerous occasions, or maybe the old Pope and the new Pope.
Vatican. Just wondering, as a Catholic, how you consider this Truth Social post, and then the post of the picture, which a lot of people took as the president posting a picture of himself as Jesus. He later said that he posted it as thinking as a doctor saving people.
I thought it was me as a doctor. Had to do with.
That's going to go down as like one of the worst lies in American history. I thought it was a doctor. Oh, why would anybody think that looks like Jesus?
Cross is a Red Cross worker there, which we support, and only the fake news could come up with that one.
Hello, I don't know that I heard that one. Was that a different clip? Only fake news would say that was supposed to be Jesus. Unbelievable. Fake. Talk about king of gaslighting.
But it really caused a kerfuffle, Mr. Vice President. I'm just wondering what you make of all of this and whether it's what you think of this back and forth with the church.
Well, first of all, Brett, I think the president was posting a joke, and of course he took it down because he recognized that a lot of people.
Mark.
So let's go, Mark Crampton. Thank you.
LFG.
So I love how he says it's a joke, and Trump's like, only fake news would say that's supposed to be Jesus. Obviously, he knew it was Jesus. Obviously, he knew that posting it would outrage everybody. Obviously, he knew they would all call him the Antichrist. And then he, to make matters worse, lied on top of it. Gaslit and lied to everybody.
Weren't understanding
total
humor
chutzpah
in that case. I think the President of the United States likes to mix it up on social media, and I actually think that's one of the good things about this president is that he's not filtered. He doesn't send everything through a communications professional. He actually reaches out directly to the people. You know, when it comes to the disagreements with the Vatican, look, we're going to have disagreements, Brett, from time to time. I think it's a good thing, actually, that the Pope is advocating for the things that he cares about. but we're always going to have disagreements on matters of public policy, or I should say, sometimes we're going to have disagreements on matters of public policy. The Pope has been critical of our immigration policy, but ultimately the immigration policy of the United States is set by Donald Trump. The Pope is going to have disagreements on other issues. We can respect the Pope. We certainly have a good relationship with the Vatican, but we're also...
Johan, thank you. Tuesday shekel challenge. Let's go. Small hat, $5 shekel challenge in effect, guys.
From time to time. I think that's a totally reasonable thing. It isn't particularly newsworthy.
Yeah, everybody is pearl clutching so hard about it. It's like they just want to kvetch. They want to be victims. Another day where the number one issue is crying about Jesus. Crying that somebody made a joke and depicted himself as Jesus.
$5 on Rumble. Hammer and pick emoji. High voltage sign emoji. High voltage sign emoji. Hammer and pick emoji.
Thank you, Alabama.
Emoji.
Wow, it takes a long time to say all those. Don't do that again, but I like the emojis. You didn't know. You didn't know. I mean, all these people that are kvetching all about Trump doing this Jesus thing are the ones that have been putting the idea in his head that he's the Messiah anyway. Been treating him as a messianic savior figure and that he's saved by God to save the world. And now all of a sudden they're offended by the Frankenstein they created. Okay. Newsmax attacking the Pope. Let's see this. Christian Zionist Jewsmax attacking the Pope.
It started on
Holy hostilities. Good one.
It started on Saturday when Pope Leo delivered a peace prayer at the Vatican. He called for an end to the Iran war, denounced the delusion of omnipotence.
Dude, Trump thinks he's omnipotent. He thinks he's God, calling himself God, depicting himself as Jesus. The two heads of Esau and Edom face off.
Claims is driving the conflict, saying enough of this display of power, end the war, a message that was clearly sent to President Trump. The Pope's political rhetoric came just after meeting with former Obama advisor and Dem strategist David Axelrod. And then on Sunday night, you had 60 Minutes, revealing that the Pope was not going to be coming back to the United States, to his home country, his homeland, to celebrate our 250th birthday in July. They're already telling us this for some reason. And
you're snubbing our what is it? Not a bicentennial. He's going to snub our 250-year birthday. Anti-American Pope.
For our 250th birthday, the Pope will be going to Lampedusa, Italian island in the Mediterranean, just north of Africa, south of Sicily. Tens of thousands of migrants land on this island on their way to Europe every single year, and the Pope is going there for the 250th anniversary of the United States. It started.
What is he going to go wash feet? He's going on a foot washing mission to the gateway to the west to welcome in all the migrants and wash their feet. The gateway to the west. How symbolic! How symbolic! Wow. Okay, now the president of Italy is calling out Trump. They're beefing.
She had said that took a shot at the Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, who you see the two of them there. They have had pretty friendly relations up until this moment in time. He said, she had said that his attacks on the Pope were unacceptable. President Trump responded to that, saying it's her who's unacceptable because she doesn't care if Iran has a nuclear weapon and would blow up Italy in 2 minutes if they had a chance. Took a shot.
Blow up Italy in 2 minutes if they had a chance. Lindsey Graham chiming in on the Pope feud.
God bless the Catholic Church. In the 30s, you didn't really get Hitler. To the Pope, you really don't get this religious Nazi regime, the Ayatollah and his henchmen. They are evil. God bless the Catholic Church. In the 30s, you didn't really get Hitler. To the Pope.
Called out. Called out. Mike Johnson attacks Trump over his post depicting himself as Jesus Christ. Trump is alone. It is crazy how now he's alienated. Am I quiet? Test. 1 2 1 2 test. How he alienated all the podcaster MAGA from Alex Jones to Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, every spectrum of the retard right. They're all retarded. As if Mike Johnson's not retard right.
I talked. Speaker Johnson, can I ask you about the president's post depicting himself as Jesus? Was it blasphemy?
I talked to the president about it as soon as I saw it, and
now, Mr. President, you better take that down. I know you've only been posting yourself as Cyrus and Jesus and putting you on temple coins and everybody's saying that you sacrifice yourself just like Jesus. I know when you were on trial and being persecuted because you laid down your life and you were wounded for our transgressions, you posted himself with Jesus in the courtroom. But
I told him that I don't think it was being received in the same way he intended it. He agreed and he pulled it down. That was the right thing to do. He explained.
These stupid Christians can't take a joke. Come on, I don't literally think I'm Jesus, everyone. Doesn't mean I worship the devil. I worship Jesus. That's why I want to be like Jesus. Come on. No sense of humor, these American Christians, let me tell you. You can see, I imagine Trump, he could be seething like, these guys, they're too sensitive.
How he saw that, and I don't think he thought it was sacrilegious at all. So,
do you think he should back down?
I think he showed great respect to others by removing it.
Great respect. Oh my God, how misleading is that? On tunes, in tunes, Trump is alone. He swept for him. He's not mad at Trump. That was a good answer. Attacks Trump. So clickbait. That was hardly an attack. Exactly. Hardly call this an attack. Exactly. Jon Stewart. This is like the number one story of the week. You know, they're not talking about the blockade. They're not talking about the war with Iran carrying on. They're not talking about Strait of Hormuz and gas prices and everything else. No, everybody's focusing on, oh my God, an AI image of Jesus. The most important thing, somebody offended Jesus. It's like Muslims kvetching about somebody drawing Muhammad level seething. Yeah, it is kind of just a distraction. Trump healed John Lebowski. Is it Lebowski or Lewandowski? Or Leibowitz. John Leibowitz, that's right.
Wait, the guy in the bed, can I just... Are you...
Looks like Two-Face from Batman. I don't see it. The nose isn't the same. All right, come on. It's not that funny. He doesn't even have a joke. He's just looking. It stopped being funny like 30 seconds ago.
Am I okay? Wait, the guy in the bed, can I just...
Yeah, I've got faith, dude. What do you have, you little bitch? You want to throw down, bro?
Okay, hey.
You want to see what it feels like to talk shit about Christians, dude?
This is Christians when Trump does a joking AI meme. Looks like Epstein, yeah. So I'm seeing a lot of these people, all the same people, the ones that say demons run everything. Obviously, Trump is just possessed by a demon. Obviously, he's just possessed by a synagogue of Satan, demonic entity. He's possessed by Satan himself. Let's hear Candace's hot take on demonic possessed Trump. Yeah, all the people that shilled for Trump for his whole campaign, you were wrong, and you're wrong now, and we can't allow all the people that told us to get behind Trump to continue leading the opposition to Trump, or we're cooked. It's going to be, he's demonic, it's devil worshippers.
Offended by JC, man. Everyone compares me to him saying I have messianic complex. Like, have they ever heard of Jesus H. Christ? That guy has a messianic complex. Not me.
That's one of the theories for a historical Jesus, is they think he was just some guy that had a Messiah complex.
He is truly, and I do not say this to be extra, I do not say this to be performative, he is truly under demonic influence. You see that in the prayers, and I have to say respectfully, it was definitely something which I am hopeful, and please forgive me if I'm out of line here, but I'm hopeful that more cardinals, more princes of the church will speak out against the role that some of our bishops have had in this. I think some of them have gone too political. Bishop Barron standing beside Paula White during that prayer, and his excuse is, well, I was there. Well, then you should make a statement after and say, this is wrong.
My statement.
I didn't mean to be. I didn't know what she was going to say when she prayed, but what she said was wrong, and it was blasphemous. And no, Trump. This is Easter, and Trump has nothing to do.
That's a vibe.
He is nothing like Jesus Christ. In fact, Trump is not even a Christian. And so there is a role here.
Burn.
I think the Catholic Church needs to step in a really big way. I think there are too many TV bishops, too many TV pastors, too many people that have turned, what it means to be a Christian.
Oh, she's the worst.
Frankly,
who listens to this?
You can wear the clerical robes and be presenting yourself as something totally different.
You're the real Christian, Candace.
And there has been thus far a very severe reaction, just all across the faith. Everybody, every Catholic bishop, every Catholic cardinal. But
oh my God, crime harder.
You can't support Trump.
Oh my God, an AI image. Oh my God. Are they just gonna psyop us into the new psyop? Is Trump's the real Antichrist? Their proof for Jesus is ball bank accounts and Trump posting himself as an AI Jesus. Here's what e-Crusaders think is happening to me. This is me when a Christian gets their hands on me right here.
In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Jesus. Get up, Thor.
Thank you, Jesus.
Jesus. Go down.
Thank you, Jesus.
Stay in the chair.
Get out, Thor.
Stay in the chair, Thor.
Jesus.
Purge the Viking gods.
And it's because I stand in God's covenant. Look at me, Thor.
Thor's electricity is leaving me.
Yes or no? Simple. Legal right.
The name of Jesus.
Legal right. Yes.
Dude, I need one of these.
He repented. You have to go.
I need this.
You have to.
Dude, a big old guy bear hugging you, holding you so the demon doesn't go too crazy. Get those satanic white gods out of your soul in the name of Jesus. Get those white Aryan gods away and bow down to the King of the Jews. Did I break this? Oh, it just bends. Yeah. Thor leaves him and he starts speaking Hebrew, bowing down to Jewish Messiah. Dude, this is how the North was converted like this, by force, through exorcist. And all these Christian influencers, like Joel Webbin comes to mind, all of them, they literally say, like, oh, all the ancient European myths, those are all fallen angels and demons and satanic. And you better convert and repent and bow down to the King of the Jews. You got demons in you. Your ancestors are burning in hell with demons and worship demons, you evil Goyim heathens. Oh, who told you they're all demons? St. Paul, the Jew? Who told you all our European gods were in lore was all demonic and satanic and evil? Jews?
Prime sent $5 on Rumble. Thor Maxing.
Thor Maxing. I haven't even seen this yet.
Has broken that. His coming to church has broken that.
I can do this too.
His faithfulness to serve God has broken that. Say two.
Oh.
Two.
Yeshua.
Say
Yeshua. Oh. Now love your enemies. Turn the other cheek and love your enemies. And have no tribe but all those who believe in Jesus. Let the Noahide spirit in. Break the spell. Now the Odin Allfather voice demon is speaking. In the name of Yahweh, in the name of Moses and Yahweh, cast out those white demons. Now go watch some feet.
Lord God, by your anointing that's in this place, Jesus Christ is Lord. His kingdom rules. Say pit.
Say salvation is of the Jews. Say it. Salvation is of the Jews. Say it.
Say you now.
I thank you because we
sent $5 on Rumble.
Standing.
And watching The Exorcist again. The power of Rabbi Yahshua HaMashiach compels you. Zany face emoji.
Yeah.
Happy Thursday, y'all. Smiley face emoji.
All the demons and vampire movies and Ghost and Demons and Antichrist, all those movies, all that Hollywood in our culture, what does that do? Just ultimately scares people to believe in Jesus. That's what all of that is.
God's providence. We stand in his kingdom, and Jar's getting free because he's not giving up. He's pursuing the Lord Jesus Christ. Faith. That's right. He's got faith. You have to go. You have to go. Say pit. Say pit, Thor. Say it. Pit! Come out. Go. Come out. Come out of him.
Say it.
Come out. Come out. Go.
Help me, Jewish God. Let the power of Christ consume you. What is it? The power of Christ compels you.
The power of Christ compels you.
Oh, then he throws up.
The power of Christ compels you.
Come out.
The power of Christ
Come out.
compels you.
Come out of him.
This is what would happen. That's how my debate with Jay Dyer would end right there. That's how it would go down. That's what it would look. That's how Ortho Bros think Jay Dyer debate would look. They all need to go to an insane asylum. Dude, go on TikTok or Instagram, and there's probably like tens of thousands of videos of literal faith healing and exorcisms. And hey, this exorcist guy gets promoted on all the big podcasts and Tucker Carlson and legitimized. So why would schizos not be doing this type of LARP? Needs to be illegal? I agree. Okay, let's see a little of this. This is a breakdown of Jesus from Outer Space by this YouTuber, Sam Leiper. Amalek posted. Let's see this. Cosmic Jesus.
As a heavenly figure out.
And then we'll get into the Bart Ehrman.
Jesus as a heavenly figure out of space. What do you guys think about this? Okay, to understand this, we need to step into the ancient world. In the first century, religion wasn't just about historical investigation. It was also about revelation. People believed gods communicated through dreams, visions, and sacred texts. Carrier suggested early Christianity fit perfectly into this world. He wrote,
pretty much all mainstream scholars now agree Christianity began exactly that way, with private revelations, whether hallucinations, visions, dreams, or pious inventions thereof. And that only a generation later, Christians invented the wild tales in the Gospels of Jesus appearing.
So, private revelations, hallucinations, visions, dreams, or pious inventions, or how about non-pious inventions? Also, and he says that they could have been lying. They could have made it up. Like, was Joseph Smith really believe he found golden plates and was do all the shit, or was he lying? Right? Paul could have been lying in the same. These first Christians could have been lying in the same. But also, they could have sincerely believed it, because there's a lot of schizos out there that reading scripture all day and have a weird dream about the scripture, and there you go. QAnon is born. Ancient QAnon is born. But mystical ascension experiences, proto-Kabbalah type of midrash, creating peshers, coming up with fan fictions, looking for secret hidden mysteries, God's hidden secrets coded in the scriptures. If you just interpret them esoterically and mystically and connect them in the right ways, you learn the divine secrets inspired by the Holy Spirit. That's how it started. Cosmic Jesus. The Jesus Puzzle. The Jesus Puzzle by Earl Doherty, I believe, is the first to Oh, I'm really small. I believe is the first to really focus on that development Christology theory.
As an animated corpse, leaving behind a tomb verified to be empty that no one had heard of before, confirmed to be physically the same man by touch and sight, and hanging around and having dinners with the disciples by some accounts for over a month. And not only that, but the original claim disappeared completely.
So rather than following a recent historical teacher, early believers may have been interpreting Jewish scripture to uncover the hidden truths about a divine savior. So where does this familiar story of Jesus come from? According to Carrier, it develops later with the writings of the Gospels. These texts transform a cosmic figure into a historical person. He writes,
During this early dark ages in Christianity's history that the canonical Gospels appear to have been written by persons unknown, and it is in that same age that at least one Christian sect started to sell the myths those Gospels contain as real, and thus began to believe, or for convenience claim, that Jesus was an earthborn man, and then preached and embellished that view. And we can expect someone would, because having a historical founder represented in controlled documents was a significant advantage. As a result, this historicizing sect gradually gained political and social superiority, declared...
Amalek, are you watching? Is this AI Carrier that he's got reading the book, or did he have Carrier read out this for his video, maybe? Kind of sounds like AI. Did he 11 Labs Carrier's voice?
...itself orthodox while condemning all others as heretics, and preserved only texts that agreed with...
Heretics! That would be heretics. See, it is AI. Called it.
...its view, and forged and altered countless texts in support, as we know for a fact they did. As a result, almost all evidence of the original Christian sects, and what they believed has been lost or doctored out of the record, even evidence of what happened during the latter half of the 1st century to transition from Paul's Christianity to 2nd century, orthodoxy is completely lost, and now almost wholly inaccessible to us.
So they place Jesus in a real setting with towns, rulers, disciples, and a timeline. Okay, so think of Harry Potter.
All based on scripture, though. All inspired by scripture, all derived from cherry picking and reading out of context scripture like a puzzle. Anything is fair game they could use and say, oh, that means that about Jesus. It was like at ad libs or mad libs, right? Is it mad libs? Yeah. Also, Amalek, remember? It's like an ancient LLM. So you have all the sacred scriptures. That's all the language model. And then you can cherry pick and connect different pieces and create a new output. Ancient LLM, Midrash. Jewish fan fiction. Yeah. Myth.
Completely fictional character
myth-making.
Invented for a story, yet placed within a real geographical accurate setting like King's Cross Station in London. The character isn't real, but the place is. I mean, you can stand in King's Cross yourself, see the platform, hear the announcements, yet the story overlays something imaginary onto that real space. The rhetorical effect of this is pretty powerful. It blurs the boundary between fiction and reality. By anchoring the story into a recognizable, real location, the narrative feels more believable and immediate. It invites the reader.
And there's the lie, too. If there's something that's cosmic and somebody deliberately made the choice to try to say something happened historically, that is a lie. That's not pious. You could say it's pious because you want more people to believe in this figure and be saved, but still, you're lying. It's, still a lie.
Imagine that the fictional elements might exist just beneath the surface of everyday life. So this creates a sense of immersion and plausibility, making the magical world feel closer, more accessible, rather than completely separate or fantastical. In other words, the story of Jesus as a man may have come after belief in Jesus as God. Now, this is where things get interesting, because even if you completely disagree with Carrier's conclusions, the book highlights something very important. He wants to say how fragile our knowledge of the ancient world really is. Much of what we think we know about history comes from texts written decades or centuries later. And those texts are often shaped by belief, politics, and of course storytelling. Jesus from
propaganda
pushes this
Christian propaganda
to its absolute limits.
And forgery. Okay, nice little 3-minute breakdown there. Amalek clipped up. Thank you. Appreciate that. There's the full video. I think it's like 15 minutes. Has Richard Carrier solved the Jesus problem? The Jesus problem? You mean the Jesus question? The Christian question? Has Richard Carrier solved the Jesus question? I think so. Earl Doherty, Richard Carrier. I cite both in my book, The Jesus Deception. It's good to see this other YouTuber, I hope his channel does well, also realizing Jesus mythicism is legit. As more of the Bart, and we're going to get into Bart Ehrman now. Bart Ehrman. Radical skeptic atheist scholar, they call him. And again, also in my book, I have a section, the Bart Ehrman, appeal to Bart Ehrman fallacy. And there's a chapter refuting some of Ehrman's main arguments for why he thinks Jesus existed. Citing arguments from other PhDs. Need More Amalek says his Substack is excellent. Thank you. You like my Substack, Amalek. No, who are you talking about? The YouTuber we just saw? He has a Substack? Pious forgery. Yeah, it's just lying. That's a nice way of saying lying. All right, let's hear Ehrman. Courtesy Need More Amalek that clipped these up. Let's hear the token atheists, Christian's favorite person to cite. Even Bart Ehrman says.
Let's end by just going back.
What is this opinion? Washington Times opinion?
Let's end by just going back to your book, right?
Yeah.
And we started this conversation a long time ago talking about...
Thanks for reminding me, Amalek. On my Substack, if you haven't signed up yet, this Sunday, I'm thinking 8 p.m. Eastern Sunday, we're doing the first private subscriber Zoom call, book review, starting with my book, the first 2 chapters. Don't miss it. It'll be posted afterward if you want to subscribe and you can't make that time if you want to watch it still. I'm going to be discussing the book with the group, paid subscribers, private Zoom call. Substack's in the link below, description below, and on my website.
The moral transformation that Jesus made, and the idea that, you were supposed to love your enemies, love people who persecuted you, love the stranger far away who has nothing in common with you, all of these sort of transformative ideas, right? You like those ideas, right?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
See, he's a cultural Christian. He loves the teachings of Jesus. He still loves Jesus. He's still hanging on. The radical skeptic, token secular atheist scholar that all the Christians love to cite to try to shut down Jesus mythicism, the gatekeeper of Jesus mythicism, was a lifelong Christian evangelical, probably Zionist. He went to all theological seminaries for his higher level education to be a pastor, to learn from Christians, basically indoctrinated to be a Christian apologist. But as an adult, after that, he became non-religious, but still loves Jesus. Made his whole career on telling you who the real historical Jesus was.
If the Gospels ended with the crucifixion and Jesus' death, right?
And he's still a Jesus shill and a Christian, promotes Christianity.
A story where someone came along and preached that, it was important to love your enemies and important to care for the stranger and so on. And that person was crucified and died a horrible death, and that was the end of the story. And he's talked about the meek inheriting the earth and the last being first, and look where he ended up, right? Is it
funny how it's always Bart Ehrman that gets on CNN and here, Washington Times, and all the big stuff? Carrier doesn't. Robert Price never did. Carrier doesn't get any of these big interviews. No Joe Rogan, no New York Times, no top podcast. They only let you hear one side. Bart Ehrman, consensus says Jesus existed, and he refuses to debate Carrier. That's how sketchy this whole situation is. Biblical scholarship is a Christian apologist institution still.
The power of the argument for Jesus' ethics kind of inherently bound up in the idea that he won?
Well, Christianity would not have become a thing if Jesus had died and there was no story of his resurrection. He would have been another prophet who preached something and then got killed for it, and boom, that was it. So there wouldn't be Christianity. But the power of the Christian message from the very beginning was the message that Paul has, which is that it seems...
So, hold on. Did he just say there wouldn't be a Christianity if he didn't resurrect?
He would not have become a thing if Jesus had died and there was no story of his resurrection. He would have been another prophet who...
So does he think they made up a lie? Or they were schizos and really believed that he appeared to them?
Preached something and then got killed for it, and boom, that was it. So there wouldn't be Christianity. But the power of the Christian message from the very beginning was the message that Paul has, which is that it seems a little bit ridiculous that God's chosen one is crucified, and it seems a little bit ridiculous that the way to access...
Hold on, if it's so ridiculous, then how did it become the most popular religion on earth? If it's so ridiculous, you can see it right there. Isaiah 53, Psalm 22, Zechariah 12:10. Doesn't fulfill the prophecy. They conceived of the crucifixion from those scriptures and reading them messianically. Do you see the problem with this argument? He goes, oh, nobody would have ever believed that a Messiah would be crucified. But yet that's the belief that actually most people, that's the number one religion on earth. So apparently they can believe in that. Jews or non-Jews. One of the little logical flaws in his arguments, which there are many.
That Paul has, which is that it seems a little bit ridiculous that God's chosen one is crucified. And it seems a little bit ridiculous that the way to...
No, it doesn't, because sacrificial animals was a thing in Judaism. So what's better than a sacrifice of an animal that you have to do every year on Yom Kippur? Well, the one eternal heavenly sacrifice of the Son of God, the Son of Man, the suffering servant who is pierced. And that's literally the theological argument in Hebrews, is that Jesus is the perfect and heavenly sacrifice, so it doesn't have to be redone every year at the temple with the animals.
Access ultimate divine power is by being a slave. But it's Jesus' message. You have to serve others rather than dominate.
Be a slave. Real power is being a slave. Great teachings for the Goyim, for the Romans, where it was like honor and triumph and victory and all those things. And then it's, no, actually being a slave is how you win. No, actually being martyred, being persecuted is how you win. And this is the moral teachings that they think is great. Love your enemy and turn the other cheek and be a slave. It's, great morals for the Gentiles.
Message that Paul has, which is that it seems a little bit ridiculous that God's chosen one is crucified, and it seems a little bit ridiculous that the way to access ultimate divine power is by being a slave.
To the King of the Jews, to the Jewish Messiah, was always intended on conquering the Gentiles. Spiritual cattle, yeah.
Real Vision sent $5 on Rumble. The Jews suffer us still daily. We should worship them all, really.
Oh, he says that too. Yeah, it's probably in this clip. I wouldn't doubt.
It's Jesus' message. You have to serve others rather than dominate message. It's so contrary to what's in our DNA and what's in every other culture. But because they thought he got raised from the dead, they thought it proved it. You have to be willing to die for others if you want to have life. If you want to have treasures in heaven, you have to sell everything you have now. Completely contrary to what people would think. But it's because of the resurrection. Yes, absolutely. It's the belief in the resurrection that ends up making this the powerful message.
You can have a belief in a resurrection with somebody that was in heaven. He did this thing, this divine sacrifice in heaven with Satan and his demons, and then he appeared to the apostles on earth through the scriptures and their visions. And by the way, he says the religion wouldn't work without the vision. So does he think the visions really happen, or that they were making it up in mystical visions, which you don't need a historical Jesus for? Or did they make it up and they didn't even actually trip out and see visions of Jesus? They just said they did. So it started on a lie. See, the whole model has so many issues when you come at it from their perspective.
Message that transformed the West.
And isn't it also just...
Yeah, when you die, you win. When you lose, you win.
An agnostic or a non-believer, right? Part of the power is also that it's not a logical answer, but it's at least a poetic answer to the problem of evil, right? The question of why God allows suffering is not resolved by God himself suffering, but it is at least addressed.
It's a powerful message. The God, I mean, when I was still a liberal Christian, I thought that the point of the gospel message was really that God had entered in.
He's still a liberal Christian. See, he went from fundamentalist to more conservative to liberal Christian to now calling himself secular, but he's still a Christian. Like, his whole life he's been a Christian. He went to school to, like, study. He was such a Christian and such a lover of Jesus that he dedicated all of his higher level university studies to Christianity and Jesus.
Into the world and suffered with us. And that's a very powerful message. I mean, it's not one that I agree with anymore,
Right.
but I can recognize it is a really.
But he's still holding on. Just because he came to his senses on some things regarding Christianity, if he had the flaws to fall full in deep and be a fundamentalist Christian into his like adult years, clearly this is not the right. This guy can't be the final arbiter of truth that Christians cite as their expert and say, Bart Ehrman says, so you're wrong. Completely unacceptable.
So contrary to the way of the world, that that has special poignancy to it.
And here you are, so many years later, a, sterling example of academic historical skepticism, and you're writing a book trying to persuade people that, Jesus' message has something to it.
Oh, he's shilling Jesus. Total Jesus grift. He's made more money off Jesus than like any non-pastor probably, I'd say. So it's not true. He's not really God, but you still are going to promote it anyway. Radical, skeptic, atheist, much.
So many.
It's so contrary to the way of the world, that that has special poignancy to it.
And here you are, so many years later, a, sterling example of academic historical skepticism. And
dude, his skepticism, he believes some of the most implausible parts of the New Testament. Like, he thinks there was really a Judas that betrayed Jesus. When it's clearly they got the betrayal from Scripture, and it later the lore developed, and they named him Judah because Judah betrayed and sold his brother Joseph. That's where they got the Judah from. In fact, it was Judah in the original. What a and then Bart Ehrman thinks Judah really existed. Judas, I should say.
You're writing a book trying to persuade people that
atheist but shills Jesus
has something to it. Is it possible that you're still, in some sense, a follower of Jesus of Nazareth?
Yes.
I sometimes call myself a Christian atheist, because I don't believe in God.
I guess that makes me a pagan atheist.
I absolutely don't believe in God or any supernatural power.
Secular pagan.
I do think that the teachings of Jesus are something that I want to replicate in my life as much as I can. But although, I'm not a very good follower of Jesus. I haven't sold everything and given to the poor. But I think
but you should.
Message is one that I want to embrace.
Wow. See, there you go. Radical skeptic. Still promotes Jesus and the ethics. Still promotes the Jewish Messiah ethics. You see? See why it's such an issue that this guy can't be the arbiter and the gatekeeper of if Jesus existed or not? And in my book, his arguments are so bad. His main argument that they would have never invented a crucified Messiah is so bad, and I rip it to pieces in chapter 14 of my book, The Suffering Messiah Debate. The hippie Jesus fallacy. Good one, Vril Vision. Okay, Bart Ehrman once again struggles to defend his views on the historical Jesus. Nice. Now we got another Amalek. Amalek, if you're here in the chat, if you have any thoughts on this, I can send you the Zoom if you want to hop in for this.
So one of the books you've written is about people who think that Jesus didn't exist. Right?
And guys, what's going on? Are we going to have to close up shop? How many power chats? 15? We're almost an hour in, and nobody has anything to say, huh? $40. Jeez. Secular Judaism. Yeah, that's what it is. One hell of an oxymoron, right?
So one of the books you've written is about people who think that.
Substack, sign up for the Substack below, subscribe star. If you don't want to super chat into the show, you don't want to interrupt or whatever, $5 a month, $10 a month. I need your guys' support, guys. I just did the end of the year finances, and if we're not making the goal every day, the show's gonna end if we're not making the goal every day. That's the reality. All right. And it's not a threat, it's just the truth. Seriously.
That Jesus didn't exist, right? That he's a mythological figure. Why should so one of the books you've written is about people who think that Jesus didn't exist, right? That he's a mythological figure. Why should we think that Jesus existed?
Well, let me say that historians by their very nature are skeptical because they're dealing with sources that they have to evaluate. And so this isn't a thing about Jesus per se. It's about how history works, that you've got to evaluate your sources.
And meanwhile, this guy turns around and his sources for Jesus are... Thank you, Real Vision.
Real Vision sent $10 on Rumble. Doing what I can so Adam doesn't have to do construction. Come on, people.
That'll probably end up being what it is, too. What I was doing before.
I've never gone into my scholarship trying to
Oh, yeah. His sources are the Gospels. Paul, who never knew an earthly Jesus... And then he makes up all these Q and L and M and N hypothetical sources that are completely unnecessary, that are just made up. Those are his sources. Or he'll say Josephus, which is late and interpolation.
Prove things. It's just you try to figure out what happened in the past. And there are people today that call themselves mythicists who think that Jesus did not even exist. And I don't object to that because it's too skeptical. I object to it because it's not historical. And so I'm just interested in knowing historically what really happened. And when it comes to the historical Jesus, the evidence.
Oh, but we're not? Oh, he's history. We don't care about history. Only you do. The historian. They always say historians say. He's a theologian. He's not a historian. He learned from Christian pastor apologetics is what he learned his whole life. Okay? Not a skeptical, non-biased historian. He's a lifelong Christian and still loves and promotes Jesus.
It's just so overwhelming. I don't think you can really have a bona fide question about whether...
And then to say it's so overwhelming. No, it's actually really poor evidence. He can't even be honest about that. He can't even be honest about that the evidence is actually not very good. And it is completely plausible it could have been made up. He never says that. It's overwhelming. You can't even question it. Everybody agrees. This is gaslighting Christian apologetics.
So overwhelming. I don't think you can really have a bona fide question about whether the man existed. The question is, what did he say and do?
See, you can't even question if he existed. Dude, that's crazy. It is definitely a question. You've been running from the question, and his book is piss poor. I got all the quotes from all the mythicists ripping it to pieces. They did a whole book. A handful of the top mythicists doing a book reviewing his book, Did Jesus Exist? You don't win the debate just by saying, oh, you can't even have the debate. Oh, it's just not even serious. Oh, everybody agrees. Those are fallacies. Those are not arguments. All right, Amalek, I'm sending it right now.
And that's where you start getting into trouble. But the reason, there are lots of reasons for thinking Jesus really existed. For one, just kind of one very basic thing. The Apostle Paul, we mentioned, he was writing letters in the 50s and the 60s. Jesus probably died around the year 30. Paul.
So 20, 30 years later.
Paul, in his letters, talks about his meetings with James, the brother of Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, and everybody, and Paul always calls any Christian the brother, the brothers, the brethren. Brothers and sisters. That means Christian, spiritual brothers. That's all it takes. That's the best he's got. Paul, in one or two offhand mentioning the brothers of the Lord, and that's it. That's the best evidence. A guy that never knew Jesus. And then you look at the book of James in the Bible, no knowledge of being the brother of Jesus, no knowledge, doesn't introduce himself as the brother of Jesus. Doesn't give any indication of being aware of an earthly Jesus. And that's the best they got. And he says you can't question it. And this gets on Washington Times and all the mainstream media, and Carrier and Robert Price and the mythicists don't. What else do you need to know?
So what I put it sarcastically is if Jesus didn't exist, you would think his brother would know that, right? But Paul
again, I responded to this in the book. Thank you, Jenna.
$5
Thank you. Another completely, he's bad at logic. He may know a lot about the mythologies, but he's bad at logic and argumentation, and he's not a real non-biased historian. Okay? If James wasn't the brother, if James knew that Jesus didn't exist, he would have said something. Not if all the first Christians and generations of Christians all knew that he didn't exist and that he was a heavenly figure found in mystical visions. See how stupid that is? He's 0 for 2. These are his 2 best examples, 0 for 2. Do you see what I'm saying there, Amalek? What's up?
Yo, what's up, dude? How you doing?
You see
I
the
what you're
problem?
saying. Yeah. You said something earlier too. I just want to that I wanted to touch on real quick. You said the Judas thing. The Judas thing is so important because Judas's name not only was it originally Judah, but Iscariot is a crafted literary device of a name. It means, it's from the Greek word. I'm gonna butcher this. My Greek isn't great, but it's like into, karyota means to the village. His name means man to the village, and it's a reference to the Odyssey, to the villain Melanthius from the Odyssey. Okay, so it's got a whole complex reason. So the name is a double crafted literary device, where it's Judah was the original name, meaning literally just basically the Jews, like a guy representing the Jews, and Iscariot was from the Odyssey.
Hold on. Thank you, Dinsdale.
It was way more scholarly than I expected. You handled the topic masterfully.
Thank
you. Should get a position at Harvard.
I don't know if I want that. Maybe just a few thousand in the live chat and making enough money to make it viable. I don't need to work at Harvard, nor would I want to. But yeah, no, it's full of citations from PhDs, and it's very technical. You read the book and you understand it, you're going to be like, very up to date with the debate at a minimum. You're going to learn a lot of stuff that you probably never heard before. I mean, it's over half a decade of obsessive research and reading all the books I can get my hands on about the topic, and compiled into like how it's, fits in my mind. Okay. Oh, I'm like, how bad is this though? If Jesus didn't exist, James would have said so. Like, no, if he didn't exist, nobody would be saying like he didn't say so, right? That would just be like a thing.
Yeah, it's so stupid. And I know that I think you disagree with this take, but the idea that this is like an acceptable argument for Catholics to make is fucking retarded too. Okay, Catholics believe that Jesus had no biological brother. Okay, yeah. So if you're gonna then also cite this and say, oh look, this is evidence of a historical Jesus because his brother comes along in Paul, that would make no sense. Then, like, what are we doing here? You cannot hold both of those ideas. Catholics are not allowed to use brother of James in their argumentation for historical Jesus. That is against the rules. They're not allowed to do that. That's bullshit.
Well, they say it's not a biological brother, and it meant spiritual brother too. And I believe it's Origen also said that, one of the church fathers. And guys, I got chapter 6. Oh yeah, there it is. Chapter 6, all about James, starting with the brother of the Lord addressing Bart Ehrman right away. And then showing
part of the reason that they make that argument is because they're trying to argue for her perpetual virginity, saying that, oh, see, it wasn't a brother, it's a brother of the Lord, that type of, like, it's so the entire argument. And then he doesn't ever touch this idea, by the way. Never does he does he offer a rebuttal to anything that we just said. He never touches the issue.
Yeah. It's like, dude, we've heard the brother of the Lord argument. Now, how can you respond to like the counter? No, they just keep citing the same thing. Right.
Meetings with James, the brother of Jesus. So, so what I put it sarcastically is if Jesus didn't exist, you would think his brother would know that, right? But Paul's conferred with James. Right.
It's not a huge deal, but I can't hear it.
Yeah. And, I got to share it. And you know what else? It's not like Paul writes like I talked to James. We don't have James writing saying Jesus is in heaven, right? We have Paul who mentions once that he met James.
And that's it. James, when he introduces himself, isn't like,
Anonymous sent $20.
Doesn't tell him anything about Jesus at all.
Well, he's giving his credentials. Hold on, I'll wait. Okay, he's giving his credentials, and he never says in his credentials, "I'm the brother of Jesus" either. That's not part of his credentials.
And it's not like Paul does. Yeah, Paul doesn't talk to James and like says, "James told me Jesus like walked through Galilee and did this thing." He never says anything like that.
Hold on. And the other thing is, the context of James is that James is being presented as like a legit, like, oh, what's his legitimacy? What is his credentials? And at no point does he list in his credentials that he was the brother of Jesus. If you're the brother of Jesus and you have to give your credentials, how is that not like number 1 or number 2 or number 3? Right? Like, this is so stupid.
Yep. And then also they say that Jude is the brother of James. But then Jude also doesn't mention being the brother of Jesus.
Right. Well, part of it is this issue with the cousins word, I believe is the argument going on here, is that in Aramaic, there's like it's like very hard to distinguish between like brother and cousin, if that makes sense. So that's kind
of. But it was in Greek. It's adelphos. It's brethren.
Brother. Yeah, I know. I don't remember the exact argument, but it has to deal with that, where it's that this concept of, oh, they were talking about a cousin, not a brother, is kind of what's going on with part of it too.
This was Washington Times, right? I'm getting this right? Washington Times opinion?
No, it's New York Times. It's
New York Times. Okay.
Yeah, this guy, he's Ross Douthat. He was a part of that debate that we watched a couple weeks ago from.
That's right. That's right. Thought I recognized him.
Yeah.
Who did he debate again? I'm trying to remember.
I can't remember the guy's name, but secular liberal atheist.
Oh, right.
But he has a time in New York on the New York Times, or he has a column in the New York Times, and I would say he was like Zionist, and then he wrote an article last summer basically titled, "Oh, now the war is unjust," but he at the same time says like, "Oh, it's not a genocide," right? So he's like a totally just like limited hangout Catholic like columnist for the New York Times, is essentially what he is.
James also addresses the believers in Jesus as brothers and sisters several times in his gospels or his epistle as well. So let's finish.
And so Jesus, I think he certainly existed.
Dude, the physiognomy of these guys, it's just like they could be brothers.
Doesn't tell you what he said.
I thought that too.
And but it's fair to say it's even by the standards of secular history, right? He's an unusually well attested figure, just in terms of how many people are writing.
Wait until you see what he's about to say.
Yeah, and this is something I think that people kind of overlook.
What do you mean? How is this good attested to? He's only attested outside the Bible in non-mythological writings by people that were not contemporary. Josephus would have been 60 years after Jesus died. He wasn't even alive at the same time. There's attestation of ancient figures.
2 to 3 generations after. Right?
Dude, this is so gaslighting and gatekeeping.
Oh wait, just wait until you hear what he says next.
All right.
You're gonna freak out.
How many
it's
people
so bad.
are writing about him?
Yeah, and this is something I think that people kind of overlook, because, I mean, I often say, and it's absolutely true, that Jesus is never mentioned in any Greek and Roman source of the first century, except for outside of Jews and Christians, not mentioned at all. And people say, oh, well, then he...
Ioliva sent $5.
Hey, that's a new one.
Here's to the $5 shekel challenge from yesterday.
Hey, can you share the sound then too when you get a chance?
Oh, right. Well, it's yesterday, but it's also today too, Ahova. Every day is a $5 shekel challenge. Thank you, though. Okay, yeah, let me get this turned on. Sorry, I forgot about that. You're just guessing what's even happening.
No, I can read the subtitles that I put on the thing.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, hold on. Bing, bam.
And I watched the whole interview twice.
You're right. You clipped it. Yeah.
Probably didn't exist. Well, how many people are mentioned? I mean, like the most,
Dude, there's nothing funny there. Like laughing hysterically. This guy's a goob.
The idea that there was millions of peasants and how many of them were attested to?
Yeah.
Okay. The claim is that he was so popular that basically like all of Syria and the Levant converted, dude.
Yeah.
That he was so popular and everyone knew about him that far and wide the entire Roman Empire swept Christianity swept through the Roman Empire.
Forward to the book club on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know about Amalek's account, but follow the noon one, and yeah, Sunday's going to be cool. But yeah, he's like, oh, if he says it's a peasant, nobody writes about peasants. He's not a peasant though. He was God. He was a magical superhero figure, not just a peasant. You say that the real in his model, he says that he was just an itinerant preacher, nobody in the backwaters of Galilee, right? But that's only assuming that. According to us, he was, I mean, in the earliest Christology of Paul in Hebrews, he's like the Son of God. He's the creator of the universe. He's the Logos. He's not just some, lowly preacher, prophet like he says. Okay.
Yeah. All the peasant stuff is
cutting out a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're back.
Philo is like the most famous Jew from the period. I mean, how many people talk about him? No one.
We have his writings. We have Philo's writings. What do you mean? Did we have Jesus's writings? Oh my God. See what I'm saying, dude? He's got Christ brain. He maybe not be a Christian and believe in the magic anymore.
Yeah, I know.
He still has Christ brain. He has Bible brain.
Also, the reason that we don't have a lot of attestations to Philo is because he's a Greek-speaking Jew, and Jews didn't keep a lot of records from those people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
the Christians kept it.
So exactly the reason that we have Philo stuff is because the Christians kept it. Exactly. And what Neil talks about this all the time. 98% of all writings, pre-Christian writings, were destroyed by the Christians. So who the fuck knows? Like the whole argument is just so stupid. Right. And the other thing too is the Philo thing. Like the fact that Philo didn't write about Jesus is incredible. Like I highly recommend anyone who's never read any of like Philo's writings. He like writes about staying with the Essenes and stuff in Judea from the period of 28 CE to like 35 CE, and then he makes a trip to Rome and all this other stuff. Like the idea that he wouldn't have written about a historical Jesus if he existed is retarded. That's ignoring that he basically is a school. He is like a theology related to the Logos and all these other like Platonic ideas that Christianity pulls from later.
Yeah, you couldn't bring up Philo and make a more silly argument take on Philo. Thank you, Stacia. Shekels for the day.
I sent $20 on Rumble. My shekels for the day.
Shekels for the rest of the week. Stacia, $5 challenge. Thank you. Clausewitz
sent $20.
Clausewitz.
This Gentile vessel Thor. Leave and may it be filled with the Noahide spirit. I call upon Saint Candace Owens to intercede on behalf of this Gentile.
Yes, that was so funny.
It's funny, I forgot about the Philo mention, but he's about to mention something even dumber here. Get ready.
Yeah. It's like make terrible argument and then laugh like your goofy laugh. That's all we ever get from this guy.
Most famous
It's
Jew
like Beards and chuckle
How many
fucking.
people talk about him? No one. So
right. The Romans and Greeks generally thought they had better things to do.
Better things to do.
But also, right.
Also, the reason we have all these writings about Jesus is because that's what the Christians who were in charge saved. They didn't preserve. They didn't have their scribes rewriting all the pagan books. In fact, they burned the pagan books. They destroyed them because they were satanic and worldly. And then to brag about, there's so many more sources for this than any other ancient figures. It's so bullshit.
It's good. It's a good example of, I think I talked to you about this before, but the Tacitus books like annals and things like that. We have a missing period of his books that we don't know about. We know they exist, but we don't know like what happened to them. Then
the crucifixion, the years of the crucifixion.
And I was just gonna say, and guess what years they are? About 28 CE to about 35 CE. So when we do have historians' records that they cite as evidence of Jesus, historical Jesus being existing, those are also tampered with by Christians to not exist anymore.
Yep.
By the way, I would say, as far as like Adam King's belief in the treasures in the Vatican, I do think stuff like that right there, like the missing Tacitus books and things like that. That I do think that the Vatican does have that kind of stuff. I think that's very likely because they couldn't let that kind of stuff out, right? Like,
yep.
I don't know.
Yep. Yeah, if they ever found it, I say that all the time. If they ever found something in the Dead Sea Scrolls that was really like smoking gun, would expose something they didn't like, they 100% would cover it up. 100%.
And who knows? Maybe Israel has something like that too, by the way.
Right.
Extremely well-attested figures. You're dealing with sources that come later and, where you're sort of putting things together.
Thank you, William.
Sent $10 on Rumble. Running low on shekels. But just imagine I am saying something really amazing. Embarrassed smiley face emoji. Oh slash.
That was based. Thank you.
Talking about even like the life of Julius Caesar, right?
Well, that's it. I mean, you'll have Roman emperors and things talked about, but who else is talked about? In a world like the Roman Empire had about 60 million people. How many of those 60 million people in Jesus' day do we actually have a record of? Yeah, very, very few. So the fact you don't have a record isn't like weird. It's what you'd expect.
Right.
Here we go.
But he's assuming that this is only works assuming there was a historical figure that wasn't magical, wouldn't be written about. But if the original writings, if he was developed originally as a cosmic logos figure, like Philo was writing about, then he's not just a regular average Joe Schmo preacher out of millions, right? So that, again, logic
He's
fail.
an intermediary between God.
Yeah.
That's what he is. But I clipped up the end of this. So the next thing he says, for example, we don't have a lot of writings about Spartacus, but nobody doubts the historical evidence for Spartacus. Like that is directly talked about. The Spartacus argument, the Spartacus like fallacy, I guess you could call it, is directly cited in Carrier's book. So that shows to me that Ehrman hasn't even fucking read it. I can't believe he even said it.
Yeah.
If Ehrman's book has a whole chapter going over all these like, oh, well, what historical records do we have for all these other people? And he goes specifically over Spartacus. So isn't that crazy that Ehrman would cite that as like an argument? I don't know. Like, that just shows to me that he hasn't even read it.
Thank you, Boleslaw. Appreciate you, bro. No, he hasn't. He definitely hasn't.
And students
doesn't want to.
Which is nuts, right?
Yeah,
like
total Christian apologist move. Like you're supposed to be the top scholar. You're not even reading the other side of the argument. Terrible. And also when they go, oh, the consensus of all the scholars say, most of them are Christian theologians trained in Christian institutions that also won't read it because the consensus says, right? They go just imagine they go poll everybody at the SBC, the largely Christian founded and maintained Society for Biblical Literature, the #1 guild of biblical studies. They do a poll, which they don't do, but do a poll asking, do you believe in Jesus? How many of those people have even read Carrier's book or any of the Mythicist peer review stuff? Almost none of them. They don't address it.
Well, they all think what we're talking about when we say this is Golden Bow and Zeitgeist, right? Dying, Rising God stuff, right? They all believe that's what we're talking about when we say this thing. Shoot, I was just going to say something. I can't remember. I'll remember it when we're playing the next thing here.
Okay.
But I want to start with your latest book, which focuses on Jesus as a moral revolutionary, I guess you would say. Someone who kind of helped bring a new mode of ethics into the world. And the title is Love Thy Stranger, How the Teachings of Jesus Transformed the Moral Conscience of the West. So let's start with the subtitle. What was so transformative about Jesus's moral message?
A lot of my students assume that before Jesus came along, there wasn't morality in the Greek and Roman worlds. My university's in the South, and so it's, Southern students, most of them raised Christian, who just assume that morality came with Christianity. That's absolutely not right. So I'm absolutely not arguing like Jesus introduced the idea of love into the world.
Yeah, I was going to say.
What I am arguing is that we today. Almost all of us, whether we're Christian, whether agnostic, atheist, whatever we are,
or even treat others as you want to be treated, the golden rule, which they try to attribute to Jesus all the time.
In the West, when there's a disaster that happens, we feel like we ought to do something about it. There's a hurricane, there's wildfires, there's an earthquake, and we feel like we ought to do something. So we might send a check, for example. Or, we retire and we decide to volunteer the soup kitchen. We're helping people we don't know. And we probably never will know. And we may not like when we get to know, if we did get to know them. So why do we help them? My argument in the book is that sense that we should help people in need, even if we don't know them, ultimately derives from the teachings of Jesus. That in Greek and Roman moral philosophy, at the time,
crazy is this?
They didn't have charity? You're telling me none of the emperors ever did anything for the orphans or the poor or fed the hungry or anything like that?
Oh, no, that was all political and cynical, Adam. But the Christian version, that's never political or cynical, right? Like that's always for good reasons. And I remember I was going to say earlier too. One of the red pills on this question for me, the whole Jesus question thing, was reading Ehrman's book, right? So while they're not reading Carrier's book, I suggest anyone who believes that we're wrong read Ehrman's book. Absolutely read Ehrman's book. It will blow your mind. I've read it 2.5 times, I guess now, and it just the 60% of it, guys, is appeal to that authority that Adam was just talking about, right? So if I suggest that people who are Jesus mythicists, you should absolutely read Ehrman's book, no, unquestionably. It'll blow your mind how bad.
Well, yeah, read Carrier, read my book, read Carrier, read Jesus Puzzle, read Jesus Hoax, and then also read Ehrman. I think you have to do both.
For sure. Well, I mean, I read it in the reverse order.
Yeah.
So,
but all the Christians online and everybody online that wants to appeal to Bart Ehrman and just say Bart Ehrman says, so like you're wrong. They don't even read Bart Ehrman themselves. When we have, they haven't read either, and they'll cite Bart Ehrman. We've read both, and then they're still able to get away with it because reasons.
Well, remember that these guys citing that for what Bart's about to say, because this is pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
Not an issue at all. You were not supposed to be helping people who just because they were in need, but that Jesus based a large part on his Jewish background, but with some...
Hold on, didn't he just say that it's like inherent in humans to like want to take care of people that are suffering?
Yeah, but you just missed it. You need to rewind 5 more seconds.
Okay, sorry,
you just missed what he said.
Sorry.
Yeah.
When we get to know, if we did get to know them, so why do we help them? My argument in the book is that sense that we should help people in need, even if we don't know them, ultimately derives from the teachings of Jesus. That in Greek and Roman moral philosophy at the time, this was not an issue at all. You were not supposed to be helping people who just because they were in need, but that Jesus based a large part on his Jewish background, but with some transformations of what he himself knew growing up, is the one who made this part of our conscience.
And how much?
Wow! Thanks to his Jewish background, we now have morals. But this isn't even true. Okay, I just asked ChatGPT examples, pre-Christian examples of the government doing charity. Ancient Rome, second century BCE, gave free subsidized grain to hundreds of thousands of citizens in Rome. Later expanded to bread, olive oil, and even pork. Tax-funded welfare. Emperor Trajan's welfare program. Well, that's Common Era. But I mean, before Christianity took over. State-funded program for poor children, especially in Italy. Food and financial support to families raising children. Okay, we don't need more. Ancient Greece also says, fund paid poor citizens to attend festivals. India had one too. Ancient Egypt, grain storage to feed everybody. Okay, bottom line, he's wrong. How can we debunk the premise of his book with a quick search like that?
I have to read this new one though, because I do like reading his stuff. His book, Early Christianities, is pretty good.
Of the change is about strangers versus about, let's say, enemies, or is this sort of an overlapping category, right? Because obviously one of the starkest things that Jesus says in terms of the kind of moral radicalism you're describing is love thy enemy. And one of the most famous parables that relates to this is the parable of the Good Samaritan, where, well, why don't you, what is the parable of the Good Samaritan, actually? why don't you describe in your own words?
The parable is...
Oh my God, is this not one of the most well-known stories already?
There's a Jewish man who's been going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and on the route, he gets attacked by...
He's about to say that Jesus invented anti-racism.
Who beat him up and steal what he has, and they leave him naked beside the road. And
Born Dare Edom sent $5. Your live engagement will go up if you stick to a broadcast schedule. I repeatedly checked Rumble and Odyssey today looking for your stream, and didn't see any notification. Then missed the first 40 minutes.
Yeah, maybe I can start finding a way to stream on YouTube again. They're better with notifications, I think. But if you follow on social media, too, I'm posting on there longer before we go live. And, guys, every day it's between, usually 11 and 12 my time. We stream. It is pretty
What I do,
normal.
guys, is to do Telegram. What you do is you want to follow him on Telegram, and you want to set notifications on your phone on Telegram. You can set that as a priority notification so that you just get a text message every time. That's what I do. So, and I very rarely miss, he very rarely misses sending it out that way. So that's how I would do it.
Yeah, that is true. And if you guys can't help financially, or even if you are, share the link. Any social media you're on, share the link or help make clips to try to reach new people and more people.
Later, a priest from the temple is going on the same road and sees him and walks on the other side and bypasses him, doesn't do anything. And then a Levite, who is one of the assistants in the temple, comes down, sees him, bypasses him. But then a Samaritan comes along. So the backdrop of the story is that the Samaritans were understood to be the enemies of the Jews. The Samaritan comes by and he sees this man and he goes over and he helps him. So that happens, and then Jesus asks the person he's talking to, which one of these was the neighbor? Well, it's the Samaritan. So the idea is that if you're going to love your neighbor, it doesn't just mean somebody who's within your own religion or your own ethnicity or your own nation. It's if somebody's in need, that's your neighbor. And that's what it means to love your neighbors.
See?
So Jesus is getting the idea.
He's saying that putting your ethnicity first is the message of don't put your ethnicity first is the message of Jesus. So he's saying if there's one, basically the premise of his book is that,
I don't think he said
Yeah,
put
he just
your
said
race first, did he?
well, he said ethnicity. Don't put your ethnicity first. Don't put your religion first. That's what he's saying. Because the message of the love thy neighbor, that's what it is, right? It was
there it
the
is.
context
Okay. I found
Yeah.
it. Let's watch again. If you're going to love your
neighbor, it doesn't just mean somebody who's within your own religion or your own ethnicity or your own nation. It's if somebody's in need, that's your neighbor. And that's what it means to love your neighbor as yourself. So Jesus is getting the idea of love your neighbor and even love your stranger as yourself from his Jewish heritage. But within Israel, it's love your fellow Israelite as yourself.
Yeah, I'm glad he mentioned that, right?
Yeah, it's important.
When the Jews say love your neighbor, it means only your fellow Jew.
Yes.
So, but for the Gentiles, it's you love everybody. Jews only love Jews, but the Goyim love everybody. Don't see tribe, don't see in group or out group.
And where did Jesus get this message from? Because this is
Jewish heritage.
He said it twice now. But what's important here is what he's really saying, guys, is he's saying that okay, there's a historical Jesus that existed, and we know what his teachings are, and these are what they are. Right. So anytime one of these guys who's let's just say pro-white nationalist, however e-crusader morons cite Bart Ehrman, understand that this is the historical Jesus that we're talking that he believes in. A historical Jesus who was anti-racist. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's like Jewish hippie Noahide Jesus. He argues. Yeah. He argues the real Jesus was not killed by Jews. He was killed by the Romans. He was anti-Roman Jewish preacher, and that he never claimed to be God, so he's Noahide compliant. Yes. And he's like, love your neighbor and hippie Jesus. So that's who they cite. And for these Christians that want to cite Bart Ehrman and try to shut us down like that, Bart Ehrman still exposes that most of the Bible is midrash and fake. And forgeries. He has a book about calling it forgery.
Yep.
Yeah.
His book on forgeries is amazing. Like I said, I actually think his work is good. I just disagree with that.
And until it comes to the Jesus question, and then he turns into a Christian apologist.
And Jesus is now universalizing it. And so part of the thesis of my book is that mentality is what led to huge institutional changes in the West, including the invention of public hospitals, orphanages, old people's homes, private charities dealing with hunger and homelessness, governmental assistance to those who are poor. All of those are Christian innovations. You can establish historically.
So this is a work of...
But aren't they just also innovations of more modern times? Right?
Yeah, I would say it's
to attribute it all to Christianity. That's like saying, oh, well, we had more buildings and the automobile. Anything that happens under a Christian nation, they ascribe to Christianity, I think is given a little too much credit.
The more people urbanize and live in denser situations, right, the more they're going to need things like hospitals and orphanages and things like that. It's just the nature of progress, I guess you could say.
The more we learn about science and medicine and surgery and all the other things they were doing, the more hospitals there's going to be, because it's less primitive, more developed. You can't attribute that only to what does the Bible have to do with hospitals and medicine?
Yeah, and when the population of a town or a city was in the hundreds of thousands, right? Mm-hmm. How many people can that hospital serve? They had to literally walk there or get there by donkey and things like that, right? And then later on, when cities are millions of people, it's you can justify it, right?
Also, you got big cities, very urban, tons of people. Are you going to have sick, dying people all over the streets suffering? Or are you going to be no, we got to build a place to try to take care of some of these people, right? And because it was the Christians that were dominant and had the monopoly and in charge, they were the ones that end up building those things also.
call it sort of cultural and intellectual history. But I think it's pretty obvious that you also want to make a point that's relevant to our moral and political debates right now. Is that fair?
It is.
So what do you want readers, Christian or otherwise, to take away from this argument that connects to, let's say, America in the age of Donald Trump?
You want it to be ultra-liberal Christians.
Political. I have very strong political views, many of which do not agree with yours.
I'm a studiously neutral interviewer, Professor, but...
You think he's pro-Trump? Is he pro-Trump, I've never heard him talk about his political views. What do you mean? I'm very strong political
No, he's
views.
super anti-Trump. He's super anti-Trump is what he's very, very anti-Trump. He's about to call Trump out, kind of.
Okay. He did do a book about Revelation and end times as well. That's one I would like to hear what he said also. Yeah.
But please continue.
I know. I'm just saying I tend to be on the liberal side of the trajectory of the spectrum, and so, but it doesn't really matter because in the book I'm not arguing for a particular political position or social agenda position or not. What I am saying is that if people claim to be followers of Jesus, they ought to follow his teachings, and his teachings are quite clear that that you should care for people who are not like you. The other. You're not supposed to, bomb them back to them, stone it.
That's weird. It's don't care for your own, care for other people that aren't like you. That's the message.
That's
right?
The only historical message he's saying. That's
only care about others. Yeah. That's what he just said. That's crazy. Are the Jews and all their organizations like built on helping the Gentiles? Or are they all for Jewish interests? But then we're taught don't have your own interests, only help others. That's amazing.
Actually, the version of this that's Jewish is the light to the nations, right? So their version of this is like way better as far as like in a competitive sense, because to them their version of like how do you like help other people by being like the best, most virtuous Jew you can be.
Yo, hold on. Dinsdale came through with the
nice.
Thank you so much, Dinsdale.
Yes, that's awesome.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it, bro. It means a lot.
All right.
Nice. I just thought of this too, as far as the medical stuff, the Dark Ages caused like the loss of tons of medical knowledge. There were people studying surgeries and things like that, and essentially like there's a couple of angles here. First of all, like the Renaissance and bringing those things back was because Islam preserved pagan texts. Okay, that's first of all. Second of all, the only like medical book that they had for a long time was in the medieval period was like Galen, who was I think 1st century pagan. So even to what degree they were doing hospitals and fixing people and all those things, they absolutely like halted the technological advance for like 1,000 years.
Yeah, they're like that's all satanic science. You cannot dig up that body and do cut it open and see what's inside. Like that's sacred. He needs to be buried in with the Lord. Or they'll say like all you need is prayer. Do this many prayers. Donate to the church and you'll get healed. Like that type of shit, right? And that's what they were doing.
Look at how they are today too, right? You can see this in how they are today too, with their way that they're anti-science, right? So that I get that there is an argument to me that like there is a part of Christianity that did help science and was pro-science, but it was after they wrecked the whole thing. Then they claimed responsibility for like building it back up. But anyway, the whole thing's stupid.
And you're not supposed to make them suffer because you don't like them or you don't want them among you. You're supposed to take care of them. So again, we haven't brought this up yet, but I mean, I'm not myself a Christian, so I'm not arguing this.
We're gonna get to that. Yes.
I'm just saying I'm not making an apology for Christianity here, but I am saying this was Jesus' teachings. This was his teaching, and even though I'm not a Christian, I subscribe to that idea. But what bothers me is that so many Christians in our world claim to be Christian, claim to be followers of Jesus, and don't follow his most basic teaching about this.
Yeah, your average Christian, your average e-crusader doesn't act anything remotely like a Christian should, or like how Jesus should.
Absolutely.
Right? That's fair. Okay, let's see.
I think that's the last Ehrman clip. Did you play the remember I posted on my last account the video, it's was Christianity a psyop, and I just reposted it recently?
I watched that on my own. I don't want to watch it again now. I'd rather get into this. This is in the title.
Cool.
Here Predictive history, Professor Zhang, the sensation the Asian sensation.
Oh,
Look
yeah,
at this spin, guys. This is so subversive in my view. Look at this spin. He basically says Trump's doing 4D chess, and he secretly hates Jared Kushner, and he's putting him in front and in charge of anything. So he's going to fail and take all the blame and be scapegoated. That's the new theory now. Let's play it, and then we'll give our take.
Everyone just says, well, Jared Kushner is the one who's controlling Donald Trump. But let me ask you this question. If you were the true puppet master, would you put yourself on stage?
Hold on. Also, we don't say that he's controlling Trump. He's one of the people influencing Trump. But it's more like Trump is putting him in control. Right? That I would say that more so than he controls Trump.
I mean, he doesn't even have a White House position, like an official position. It's crazy. The whole situation's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So already he's kind of like straw manning.
Everyone just says, well, Jared Kushner is the one who's controlling Donald Trump. But let me ask you this question. If you were the true puppet master, would you put yourself on stage? Would you have that spotlight shone on you so that if something goes wrong, everyone blames you? Everyone now thinks if this war in Iran goes sideways, it's Jared Kushner.
No, because if it goes right, he becomes the hero. He becomes the historical figure. Already, I hate this.
It's you. Everyone now thinks if this war in Iran goes sideways, it's Jared Kushner's fault. If this war in Ukraine...
No, they're going to blame Trump, not Kushner. Give me a break. They're not blaming... Are they blaming Kushner right now for it, or are they blaming Trump? Wrong. He's like wrong already 3 times in the first 20 seconds.
Explodes, it's Jared Kushner's fault. If things don't work out in Israel, it's Jared Kushner's fault. It was never Donald Trump. It was Jared Kushner. And so that's what Donald Trump is doing this term. He is letting his enemies get on stage and make complete jackasses of themselves.
See, putting Kushner in control of all the Middle East in our international diplomacy is because he's his secret enemy. He calls Kushner his enemy. So I guess since if Kushner's the bad Jewish Chabad enemy, I guess Trump's the good guy, right, guys? 4D chess. Trump's just playing him by... And also this is... Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. I just want to rant about this so much, but I'm going to let him play.
Never Donald Trump. It was Jared Kushner. And so that's what Donald Trump is doing this term. He is letting his enemies get on stage and make complete jackasses of themselves, right? So, but you're like, wait, Jared Kushner is Trump's son-in-law. They're not enemies. Yes, they are. If you know Donald Trump's personality, he values one thing and one thing only: loyalty. Jared Kushner is not loyal to Donald Trump, and we know because after January 6th, when everyone was distancing himself or herself from Donald Trump, Jared Kushner and Ivanka disappeared. Okay? Just go back to that time when Trump's cabinet was quitting on him, when the Republicans were calling for his impeachment. Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, who made a lot of money in Trump's first term, they disappeared because they didn't want to lose their friends. They didn't want to be associated with the dumpster fire that was Donald Trump. Do you think that Donald Trump might have a grudge against Kushner?
No, I don't think so.
That would make sense.
No. How do you know what they were saying behind the scenes? Trump lost, and then he had everybody attacking him because of January 6th. And then, so he's out of office, like just because they're not on the news, like standing up for Trump every day. He has a grudge and he hates him. How do you know that they weren't? He wasn't still consulting, helping him navigate the situation. Oh, he comes up with this secret theory that Trump secretly hates Jared. And so by giving him all this influence and power, which he did also, he gave him all this positions and influence in the first term before this supposed huge feud they're having. So just make up some bullshit to run cover for Trump and pretend like, don't worry, white hat's in charge. It just looks like the Jews are running things. Total obfuscation, total 4D chess, trust the plan bullshit.
Also, during this time, the Kushner was literally setting up an investment fund, an investment company. In 2021, he founded Affinity Partners, okay? And that was part of an investment fund for the Middle East that's worth $3 to $6 billion in management, is that what it's grown to. So the idea that he was like distancing himself, or, oh, he wasn't involved in all this court case stuff, as if like he wasn't doing exactly what, like, part of what we're still seeing today, is so stupid.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
And like, okay, so he secretly hates Kushner, and he's gonna really destroy him by giving him all this influence and power to become like basically the vice president, doing everything overseas. Like, that's stupid. He would talk shit about him on Twitter, and he would say, you're not doing nothing, you're a nobody, you didn't do good. Like, that's what he would say. No, he's so high level, he's giving him all this power so he can hang himself. The rope to hang himself. Retarded.
JD Vance,
Alexander Dugan.
JD Vance was just doing the negotiations for Iran, right? And what was the reporting saying? That he had to call Trump in 7 times, right, to make sure, oh, is this part of the deal okay, or is that part of the deal okay? So JD Vance, the actual vice president, has obviously like a limits to his power and what he's allowed to negotiate with. Do you think that Jared Kushner is calling Donald Trump 7 times in negotiation when he's talking to the Saudis, when he's talking to the Russians? Absolutely not, dude.
Mm-hmm. Clausewitz sent $15. Jang, Dugan, and Fuentes are 3 heads of the third worldism hydra.
Maybe. Verdict might be out on Nick if he's actually turned on that, like it appears a little bit, but I don't know.
Maybe Jake Shields can take that spot.
Jake Shields, yeah. The other thing too, it's like he didn't just, put Kushner in the public eye for Gaza and Iran and Ukraine and everything he's been doing. He's been doing this all along. Number one, it's like his baby. He's the expert. Trump trusts him and gives him this influence. But it wasn't just that. Kushner was like created and led the America First PAC that helped Trump win the election. That helped staff the cabinet also. So this is just total. And then he was just with Sneeko saying, "Oh, it's not Chabad Lubavitch. They're just the front men, that they're being scapegoated, and they're not really running anything." Right? That was yesterday the clips we played. You see right through this bullshit, right, guys?
Might have a grudge.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like if you're Trump, do you honestly, and like Ivanka's your daughter and Kushner like worked for you, wouldn't you actually want them to be distant from all the trial stuff? I mean,
maybe, yeah.
That's not like a surprising thing. Like if I was like the father figure, head of the Trump family, I would tell my daughter like, "Hey, go raise the kids, worry about your stuff, help Jared start up his startup thing. We'll be back. Don't worry about it. Just stay out of the limelight."
It's like he just had Jared extremely busy for 4 years. He loses, and the shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
And so when he's not on the news defending him every day, you think he secretly hates him. This is just like Ian Carroll on Joe Rogan saying he thinks that Trump's running a secret coup against Netanyahu. Same type of bullshit that we're seeing right here. I think he has a grudge. Okay, he has a grudge. Okay.
Yeah, it's like he thinks he's watching Game of Thrones, like in a way where he thinks he knows what the characters are thinking because he can see like behind the scenes. But real quick, the Abraham Accords were basically like the company he started after the Trump admin is what basically enabled this expansion of the Abraham Accords after. So he was literally doing Trump's bidding during the downtime, almost as if he knew that they were coming back. So the idea that they had like outs is so stupid.
They want to lose their friends. They didn't want to be associated with the dumpster fire that was Donald Trump. Do you think that Donald Trump might have a grudge against Jared Kushner?
That would make sense to me.
I would think so. And do you think Donald Trump is a guy to like just go? Do you think that he's like, well, yeah, he betrayed me, but at the same time, he's still my son-in-law. And
but how did he betray him? Now we're making up it's betrayed. If he betrayed him, Trump would be talking trash. He wouldn't be giving him all this influence on the world stage. What?
Who would Trump like more? Can you name a single figure? He likes him more than JD Vance.
Has he ever criticized Jared at all, or he only praises him all the time?
I can't think of a single person in public life that Donald Trump likes
Mm-hmm.
more than Jared Kushner, most likely, other than like Ivanka, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a father of my grandchildren, and he's a husband to my favorite daughter, Ivanka. No, he's like, screw this guy. First of all, he stole my daughter from me. Second of all,
Stole his daughter? His adult daughter? Like, what, he doesn't want his daughter to, like, be a mom and have a family and get married? Married to some hotshot billionaire? No, he's seething. He took her. Ivanka was supposed to sleep in bed with Donald her whole life. How dare his daughter grow up and marry some billionaire? Trump is probably seething. So stupid, dude. Who listens? The guy's an idiot. He's total idiot, total astroturfed, Duganist, botted, third worldist, Asian Alex Jones, basically.
First of all, he stole my daughter from me. Second of all, he made her convert to Judaism. What is that crap? And third of all, when I needed him the most, he ran away. So
Dude, Trump loves Jews and Judaism.
From exile, and now he is the most high-profile member of Trump's team in the Middle East. Do you think that's a good thing for him or a bad thing for him?
I think he thinks it's a good thing for him.
He does.
Right.
But that's why Trump is so good. Because
wow.
he gives you what you want, right?
See, Trump's actually a super genius by putting Kushner in charge because he's setting him up to take the fall. In this grand scheme to get back at him for betraying Trump, stealing his daughter, and abandoning him after January 6th. This is retard level shit.
Tales of the Levant sent $10 finally able to catch a live stream of the best show out there.
Thank you.
If you love someone, you want to protect that person. You want to do what's right for that person.
So maybe he was protecting them when the shit hit the fan after January 6th, huh? Like Amalek said earlier.
You don't give that person whatever he or she wants.
Okay. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm trying to find footage of it, but that doesn't appear to be any. I bet you that he literally walked Ivanka down the aisle and gave Ivanka to almost guaranteed, right?
Yeah. Dude,
There's
that's
footage
crazy.
of him doing so with Tiffany Trump. And he did that with Tiffany Trump. So I just imagine that's probably what he did with Ivanka. And the
Like,
idea
does
that Trump is like mad that she converted to Judaism, that is also retarded. That's
Yeah.
just stupid.
Yeah. And does he think all fathers are just like seething that
Able to catch a live stream.
Yeah, true, dude.
stole my daughter? Like it's meant to be his little baby his whole life. It's crazy.
I know he has a son. I hope Jang doesn't have a daughter, to be honest. It's kind of a creepy.
Yeah, he's like,
worldview, to
Trump's
be
like,
honest.
oh, they stole Don Jr. from me, that bitch, whatever her name was. All right. Zhang said he got into geopolitics because of Dugan. You got to be kidding me.
So I really got into geopolitics and eschatology because I read Professor Dugan's book, The Foundations of Geopolitics, which I highly recommend. I think
I've read that
the
book.
most important geopolitical book in our modern era. And the thing to understand about eschatology is that behind eschatology is also national character, the soul of a nation. And that's why eschatology is so important, because eschatology...
Thank you, Tails.
$10 finally able to catch a live stream of the best show.
Oh, wait, we already heard that one, didn't we? Thank you, though. Astro Tuft Hard, literal Russian agent. I love how Sneako's with George Galloway and Dugan and Jackson Hinkle and, dude, the Russia sphere, third worldist, Christian, Muslim, Abrahamic alliance bullshit is strong with Sneako.
of your national soul. So I really got into geopolitics.
All right.
Hold on. Yeah, I'm remembering this correctly. The book that he just cited has nothing to do with the end time stuff.
Yeah, I was wondering
Foundations
that.
of Geopolitics. The foundation of geopolitics is basically like him outlining the strategic stuff that we talk about all the time, where there's going to be a clash of civilizations and multipolarity, and then an inevitable big blow up war. And it's where he does this Atlanticist versus Eurasianist type of framing. And there's like I can't remember if there's any end time stuff with Dugan in that part.
I've never heard about it or seen quotes from it or anything about eschatology.
The two big Dugan books that I've read that are about the eschatology stuff is the Fourth Political Theory, and then he's got one on Heidegger. I think it's just called like On Heidegger or something like that. And those are the two ones that he talks about that a lot. But he doesn't talk about that in so this motherfucker is misciting Dugan as well, which is interesting, right? It shows it's very strange. I don't know. That's so weird.
So all these new interviews now we're seeing
right. So I want to ask the both of you
the sweeping from this guy.
You were mentioning the deep state. So essentially, your belief is that Trump is, and this is hardly a conspiracy, that he is being controlled by different forces and he's being used as a tool to push an agenda that's against America's interests. So right now, we are back in the war. The ceasefire talks failed in Islamabad, Pakistan. J.D. Vance, the vice president, was there. But behind him was Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff. These are real estate moguls. So you keep saying the deep state is controlling Trump. Is it just simply the Chabad-Lubavitch sect? Because Kushner has no position in the White House. He's not part of this administration, yet he is one of the lead negotiators in the Middle East with the Gaza peace talks. And here he is in Pakistan, right next to J.D. Vance. And the theory is that we were pulled back into this war and the ceasefire talks failed because Israel wants to continue bombing Lebanon. Professor Zhang, is the deep state simply just Chabad-Lubavitch?
Right. So I think rather than say there's one group of people pulling the strings, I think it's just better to say that there's a convergence of interests, meaning that you have different political factions who need Trump to start a war against Iran. And Chabad-Lubavitch are the useful idiots or the scapegoats that can be put out front in order to
how could they say it wrong so often?
Attract people's attention. Wow.
I don't know. I mean, anybody that says Chabad should just not be taken seriously, though. Anything they have to say. If he can't even pronounce their name right, is he going to be right about that they're just the scapegoats and the useful idiots?
Well, what's ridiculous about it is, I pronounce Hebrew words all the time wrong because I don't speak Hebrew. All that type of thing. But that's not really what I'm saying. I'm like names of organizations is something totally different. I don't mispronounce Israel or things like, you know what I mean? Like you don't mispronounce major names like that. That's just so weird. And it also shows that they've never actually watched anyone within Chabad talk about Chabad because Chabad says their own name in the intro to almost all of their videos. They do the Chabad prayer thing with the dollar bill and the whole thing, right? I watched thousands of hours of their clips. The idea that you could watch even 10 hours of them and then still pronounce Chabad wrong makes no sense.
Yeah, like this guy's supposed to be the expert on eschatology and Judaism and all these secret societies, and we're supposed to trust him that they're just the scapegoat and the useful idiots. But like, you've never even heard one rabbi pronounce Chabad? Chabad? Like I've heard it like thousands of times, and you have never heard it once to get it right. That speaks volumes. But yet he's the expert on Chabad apparently, or I should say Chabad.
The more powerful people are working behind the scenes, manipulating things behind the scenes. So if you think about Jared Kushner, if he were really powerful, he would not be in front of the television cameras taking all the blame for the failed negotiations, not just in Ukraine, but also in Iran.
So I guess Netanyahu, he's in the public eye. He's not powerful. Adelson, he was well known, not powerful. Who are all these mysterious people nobody's ever heard of that secretly run everything, a part of all these satanic, demonic secret societies that we can never point out or do anything about? Don't pay attention to the people we know that actually are in the positions of power and running things and have agendas. No, they're just the scapegoats and the middle management and the boogeyman to take the fall. This is pure obfuscation, sweeping for the actual power structures. It's the Illuminati. It's the Sabbatean Frankists. It's the secret reptilian shapeshifters. We've heard this before.
Well, the other thing is the opposite. Who is being blamed for the fall, the failure of these talks in Islamabad? Who is it? Donald Trump. Why are they saying that?
In
They're
the
saying he
West.
moved the gold. Yes,
In
the West for
Zionist,
sure.
yeah.
But
Or
they're
Christian
not blaming
Zionist,
JD. They're not blaming JD Vance or Kushner for this, or any of Trump. Everyone
They're
is
blaming
blaming
Epstein.
Donald Trump. And Epstein, yeah, that's true
Yeah,
too.
Trump and
They're
Epstein.
definitely not blaming Kushner for this. Like, I haven't seen that take at all, like on the mainstream news or any of the normie conservatives or normie left wingers or anything like that. That the idea that they're blaming Kushner is retarded. That's
Yeah,
so
or
stupid.
Chabad. Yeah, CNN's blaming Chabad, not Trump. Okay, that makes sense. That's basically what he's saying here. Dude, this guy's just wrong about everything. And it's not just this take. I've seen his videos. I've seen around him a while, blown up to 2 million subscribers and on every big platform like overnight. And he says all types of super stupid stuff. It's basically just every conspiratorial meme theory on the internet the last 20 years. He just weaves together and writes on his whiteboard.
And in Gaza as well. It seems to me that Trump, Kushner, Wickoff, Shabbat Lubavitch, all these people are being set up as scapegoats, as Professor Dugan pointed out. And who these people behind the scenes truly are.
By who?
It's really hard to say. It's the Epstein class. But I really think it's...
Epstein class, you mean like Ehud Barak and Palantir, Peter Thiel? Like, we know who Epstein was friends with. We got the Rothschilds.
The convergence of interests, right? So you have the military-industrial complex.
Oh, Rothschilds are like, okay, hold on, Amalek. By this logic, is Illuminati and Rothschilds not the most commonly well-known, like, conspiratorial trope? So you're telling me they're not in power either? It's even the secret, hidden 13 noble black nobility, secret bloodlines of the Illuminati, right? Is that what he's running with now? So Edom, it's really the Roman Empire and Edom secretly and the secret occult Nazis, right? Is that where we're getting to? Asian Alex Jones.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's exactly where we're at with this stuff. He is such a clown. He's getting like worse. He actually wasn't as bad as he is now. It's like he's getting high on his own little generational run here.
Yeah.
Complex. You have the national security apparatus. You have secret societies like the Freemasons, the Rosicrucians, Knights Templars. You have Wall Street and City of London. Basically, it's a lot of people.
Can anybody even name an influential Freemason today? Or like, when has it ever been like, oh, look, the Freemasons just did that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there's something to it. As far as like them being like a in the background secret society political force, that is less today than it has historically been. I think that's a very strong force historically. But now I would just fold them in under most like as a subdivision of Christian Zionism or Zionism in general. There's lots of these organizations and subgroups and ideologies that are ultimately just like subdivisions of Zionism. And that's really what Freemasonry is at this point. It's like a men's club or however you would describe this, sort of like a way for a networking club, but that they are by their nature Zionists. So I don't disagree with that they suck, but to say that they're like controlling things or this is a Freemason plot,
they're secretly running things. It's not Chabad, it's secret Freemasons. Like I just think, I'm thinking about it right now, I don't think I can name like one like open out Freemason. Not one. Can anybody in the chat name one influential Freemason today?
The lead singer of the band Ghost is a Freemason.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well,
but he's known for being in a band. Is there anybody known for like who's the grand wizard of Freemasonry right now that like is influencing politics? Can anybody name anybody?
I know that. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say. I can't think of any off the top of my head, and I don't want to look it up either. But
yeah,
not that I can think of.
Chat says Russell Brand. I don't know about that. More like a Christian.
Interest to have this war in Iran. It's a really question of like who's going to do the work, right? Who's going to be the vanguard and who's going to be the scapegoat. And so the people we're seeing right now are just the vanguard, the scapegoats.
So he says Zionism's not Judaism, and Jews are the scapegoat. British royals are the British royals still Freemasons, like out in the open even? I know they used to be, right? It used to be all out in the open. It was no secret, right? Like the Freemason founders, like they didn't make secret. That was not like a secret thing that they were in. They were like all bragging about it all the time, weren't they? Actors are Freemasons.
Well, I know that a lot of the founding fathers were Freemasons too, and that's a pretty big deal too. I do think that there was some, a lot, we always argue like, was America founded on Judeo-Christian values? I do think a lot of the founding fathers, I mean, I know this because I've read what they wrote, were kind of like philo-Semitic in a way where they were like kind of obsessed with like the Hebrew Bible and this like they were into like a Solomonist type of cultist ideas where they thought they saw America as a new Rome, but also as a new Jerusalem at the same time. It's very weird. And I think philo-Semitic, but as far as like Freemasons being in power today, like I said, I don't think that that's like, it's funny. I'm seeing here Jesse Jackson.
Yeah, I looked it up. It says Steve Wozniak from Apple. I'd never heard that before. I was not aware. Country singer Brad Paisley. See what I'm saying though? These are all like celebrities that are known for other things. I meant like, who is the show me the influential Freemason and Freemason group that is doing anything. Give me some proof. If you claim it's not Chabad, it just looks like they're doing everything. Well, where's your proof of this other secret hidden hand?
Yeah, I really think it's like a men's club. That's what it really is, guys. Like it's a networking club. That's basically what it is. Like, and to what degree it's like doing nefarious things. It's just like that's the way elite people act in a networking club, where they get around and have like private get-togethers and plan out their nefarious shit they do. Like I don't know why it's not like magical.
It says Gerald Ford is the last U.S. president to be a Freemason.
Yeah, it's not a bit like I don't know. Like I said, I'm not like
1974.
I just
we haven't said anything. No, Freemasons are fake and Jewish, but I'm just saying he's claiming Freemasons are really in charge, and it's not Chabad. So I'm saying, okay, where's your proof?
Yeah.
Here's Alex ranting about the small hats. Let's see this one.
This is some really dark stuff. We're going to destroy America when we're done sucking it dry. We are at war with the Gentiles. We're at war with the West, quoting rabbis saying it's our right to do this. They're not humans, but particularly the Christians, particularly white Anglo-Saxons, have to be defeated, have to be destroyed. That's why the ADL got up 4 years ago and said, arrest Alex Jones, arrest others. If you talk about replacement migration, you go to supermax prisons, because it's the plan. You are to
he's scapegoating Goy Freemasons.
Be destroyed. The three.
Yeah, will you get banned anywhere for talking about Freemasons, by the way? No. Will you lose your bank account talking about Freemasons? No. Will you be on a list?
International Congress of Freemasons.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, International Congress. Well, they probably do have stuff like that, but I'm saying, who are they? Like, do they? Where is the proof of them influencing something?
Children 7, 9, and 11 will be delivered to the hot tub for your pleasure. They're well trained at the wooded.
So he takes the real things about rabbis talking about destroying Edom and then blends it in with all of this kooky disinfo stuff.
It'll be just you and the children for your entertainment. They talk about ritual murder, torture, drinking blood, cannibalism. These are real emails that are Jeffrey Epstein's, okay? See, I told you, it ain't just screwing 14-year-old girls. It is killing babies. It is raping babies.
Killing and rapey babies in the Epstein files. Proof? Talking about beef jerky when it's really just beef jerky.
Drinking their blood. It is adrenochrome. We're going to talk about it. It's about Mossad, MI6, CIA, the royal family, and in Europe is even worse, particularly in the UK, and how they use this for global control. We're going to do an Aleister Crowley ritual. We'll also have walnuts and pizza. Obama's having $56,000 of hot dogs delivered. That's male prostitutes. We know Lindsey Graham, it's men. That's coming out now. Prostitutes. Gigolos, it's Obama, it's men. We know Dick Cheney, not into kids. He's into beating women. That came out in cases.
I think this hot dog Obama party thing is so stupid, dude. It's like, how much do you think White House holds a big, huge party? They bring in a famous Chicago hot dog place and the catering company. Like, how much do you think it's going to cost? They upcharge the government for special shit like that. You think they're having huge prostitute sex parties at the White House with all the employees and stuff? Get real.
And all the Freemasons?
Yeah, and all the secret Freemasons.
Gunderson talked to women for real. He broke one woman's jaw. He had a mole on his foot-long penis. And I'm trying to be gross here, folks. Cheney had a foot-long penis with a mole on the side of it.
What?
Women would describe it. And
Cheney is stacked? Is that what you say? Packed? Did he just say Dick Cheney had a foot-long penis?
He did say that with a mole on it too.
That is insane.
Moly Dick.
Like Moby Dick, Moly Dick. Dude, the Moly foot long. That is so crazy. Where is he coming up with that shit?
he would beat the living hell out of, knock their teeth out, you name it. His reason he had a heart attack at like 50, he's a mean son of a bitch. I was told.
It's because all the blood is flowing to his foot long. Had a heart attack. Hard to pump all that blood into that foot long schlong. Moby Dick.
Before Trump even got back in, that no, Trump's not going there because of the national security. And I said, he's wrong. They're still going to burn him for it, even though he's not involved. We know because they would have already used it. And the witnesses and the victims all said that they never saw Trump except one at Mar-a-Lago, and he kicked Epstein out. And I've gone there consistently, first breaking, look for Trump to do a basic general cover-up for the CIA and Mossad and MI6 and for the King of England, who's involved as well, not just his brother, Prince Andrew. So I nailed what it was. The left is all over the internet attacking.
I love that Alex Jones is running around trying to act like he's predicted everything still when he was completely wrong about Trump all this time. It's total fucking gaslighting, dude. He keeps doing it too. I love David Icke is tweeting him out like every day, multiple times a day, calling him out like, dude, who are you trying to kid with this shit? We've dumped out the Alex Jones was right jar.
Me and everybody else saying, oh my God, leftist accounts, you're covering up for Trump when we post Tony Podesta, John Podesta from the original WikiLeaks that are confirmed to be real. 3 kids being delivered to your hot tub for your pleasure, 7, 9, and 11. Nietzsche said, don't stare at the abyss too long unless you become it. And also, you fight monsters long enough, you become the monster.
Dude, young kids coming for your pleasure. How do you know he's not being sarcastic? Like a bunch of kids coming to the pool is going to be like loud and splashing and shit. It's never just like the most reasonable explanation. They always go the most sensational thing. And then they add up all of those, exaggerations and lies and half-truths and then act like it's all, a big conspiracy. InfoWars Insider talks about Alex staging his expose videos. Daily Mail. Is this today? What? Hold on. Which former employee is this? Hold on. Dude, I hate the ads on Daily Mail, dude. All right. It was nonsense and lies. Ex-InfoWars staffer exposes Alex Jones's fake news machine, including stage stunts, drunken antics, and office of chaos, an explosive new tell-all. Yes. Who is it? Josh Owens. He's already the one that wrote in the New York Times about Jones drinking vodka as he was driving around. It was nonsense. It was lies. Who spent 4 years editing and producing videos for the notorious conspiracy theorists. Owen's new memoir. Oh, shit. I want to read this. The Madness of Believing chronicles what he describes as Jones's elaborate news stunts, ranging from fueling false fears about nuclear fallout along California beaches to sell. I
was just going to say
iodine.
Yep, iodine. Yep.
Iodine.
That's what it was. I remember that, dude.
That.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he sent out his reporters with Geiger-meters or whatever they're called to measure the fallout from,
Remember,
and he's like,
that girl's name? He had that e-girl that was out there on the beach, and her dude. I remember thinking,
explain Tony Podesta's artwork in his house.
Degenerate, weird art, basically.
Weird Jewy art, dude.
Weird, disgusting art. Like, have you never been to a museum? It's full of that shit. They think it's high class and sophisticated. They get some famous artist. They draw shocking things. Same thing with Marina Abramovich. Weirdo. Have you ever been to check out the high school or university theater department or art class? It's a bunch of weirdos into art. That's how I would explain it. All right, here we go. I don't know if I can read this whole thing. I was struggling how he'd spent the last 4 years of his life, the scams he contributed to, the lies he helped spread, the people he'd harmed. The guilt clawed at me, insisting and unyielding. InfoWars did not respond. Cries while announcing InfoWars will be shut down. Only Harrison Smith hanging on over there. Oh, yeah, I just remembered. I DM'd Rex Jones and told him to come on a stream. No response. No response. What's wrong, Rex? Are we scared? Are we scared, Rex? You need me to go talk to your daddy, Jay Dyer? Is that what you need, Rex? All right. Okay, I don't want to look at all this right now. Oh, wait, we did that. Let's see this one. 22,000 likes. Toy Story. Goy Story? Goy Story?
You're my favorite toy. You do everything I say. You go wherever I point you. And the best part is, you think it's all your idea.
BB! Put those stupid toys away and come eat your breakfast.
Again with the devil, dude. It's fucking Jews, the Torah, and Yahweh. Why are we always scapegoating the God's mythical adversary here?
You have a very busy day of destroying nations today.
That boy really abuses those stupid toys.
Yeah.
What the hell are you guys looking at? On your feet! We're going to war! I don't know who we're fighting or why, but Bibby said go, so we're going. Don't ask questions. Move out! I gave that kid everything he asked for, and I still ended up on the floor. Good luck, Jack.
I don't know that he did give him everything he asked for, did he? Did he?
Hey!
He did arm him with a lot of weapons. Remember there was like the one weapon shipment that like they halted for a second and the Zionists threw a total fit?
I'm building something very important here. This is the third temple. Come on, man.
Nice.
When Bibby sees it, he's gonna realize I'm his favorite toy.
Wow. I like that part. AI is so crazy. Follow the white Agoy story. That's pretty good. All right. Strobel, nah. Angels, NASA.
Did you see the Netanyahu Vance reports to him story? I was clipping this up before you called me, and you can just watch the first 2 minutes of. I just put it in the chat link for the call. You should watch this for just first 2 minutes of this video. I'll clip it up later and post it too. This is crazy, though.
Turning now to the status of negotiations. A little bit of a troubling message here from the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, speaking before the cabinet, talking about the negotiations and how the vice president, quote, reported to me in detail. Let's take a listen.
I spoke yesterday with Vice President J.D. Vance. He called me from his plane on the way back from Washington.
He's calling the real boss. That's so funny.
He reported to me in detail, as the people of this administration do every day, on the development of the negotiations.
Makes sense.
In this case, the explosion in the negotiations, the explosion came from the American side, which was not willing to tolerate the blatant violation of the agreement to enter negotiations by Iran. Essentially, the agreement was that there would be a ceasefire and Iran would immediately open the crossings. They didn't do that. The Americans were not willing to accept it. He also conveyed to me that the central issue on the table from the perspective of President Trump and the United States is the removal of all enriched material and ensuring that there is no more enrichment in the coming years.
So see, he's the one getting blamed for backing out.
There you have it. Also, before we continue, this has become a matter of some controversy. So I will tell you that that video that we just played you is from the government press office with the translation, snap translation, which was provided by the Israeli government. I did not dub it. Nobody else dubbed it. That was an Israeli government translation. So they did change the translation later on.
They changed
I'm going to go
it.
ahead and read it to you.
Because it looked bad that he said reported to, as if
on
JD Vance is reporting to Bibi
I tweeted
Netanyahu.
about this yesterday. It's become a matter, apparently, of some controversy. So I will give you the fact that their snap translation said reported to, which, of course, to me, immediately makes me go, reported to me in detail, as this administration does every day. They change the translation from that translation to brief me. If you speak Hebrew and you want to decide otherwise, that's up to you. Me, I'm going to go with the Snap translation. But that's good. I'm just saying.
Reporting for business, sir, BB.
Yeah, how funny is that, though?
Mm-hmm.
So JD Vance, he was flying, he was reporting to me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look, I found the guy Professor Zhang says is running everything. It's not Chabad. It's Jeff Wilkins. What is Jeff up to? What is Jeff's agenda, I wonder?
There's like unlimited YouTube Freemason content that doesn't get censored. Rumble doesn't take it down, or not Rumble. Like Twitter, any of those things never took it down in the days where that was happening. The whole idea that it's like the Freemasons is just stupid. There are like a lot of Freemasons in like military officers and military schools and certain like I would say like like ethnic communities. Like there's a big amount of Freemasons in
churches. I wonder how many, if they have pastors.
Churches, yeah.
Pastors of churches.
But like I said, I don't think it's like what they're trying to paint. It's ridiculous.
Okay, so we have
the other thing too is hold on real quick. They should ban secret societies. That you shouldn't be allowed to do that. Basically, the whole idea of a secret society, if we're gonna have a country like we do now, like it's some sort of like open, liberal society, you can't also have secret societies. That's ridiculous.
Is it secret though? Like they just had the website with the leader and.
Well, I just mean like secret membership, right? Like that's what a lot of like anti-Freemason laws are.
Right. Secret oaths and stuff, right?
Yeah. You have to publicly declare that you're a Freemason, and like there's issues with there's a lot of Freemason police in South America. I know that, right? So they say like, oh, you can't be a Freemason in secret and hold public office and things like that. So I think that those organizations shouldn't be allowed anyway. Is really what I'm saying.
But do they have secrets, or like are they open about it? And there's photographs and they wear the ring and they put the sticker on the back of the car and they're featured on the website. Like, hey, we know about. I love how he says Chabad because everybody knows of Chabad, that they're not really running anything. But then he goes, but it's the Freemasons. Like way more people think Freemasons run the world than Chabad, and that's the way it's been for not more than decades. Generations. That's who's been blamed for secretly running things. So according to his logic, that doesn't even add up. Judges probably.
There probably is like corruption too. Like, one of our members got in trouble for drunk driving, and I'm like a Freemason judge, and I'm going to let him get off. There's tons of that goes on. Like I said, I don't agree with like being allowed to do what they're doing. You know what I mean? But like in our current system,
are there Chabadnik Freemasons? That would probably be illegal for them to have some oath with Gentiles or something, or if there's only a Jewish observant branch of Freemasonry. I don't know.
Well, part of what makes Chabad so, I guess you could say, like useful to them is that it's like a network of safe houses, and that is a sort of tradition that Freemasons also used to use, and they developed around the same time that strategy, the network of safe house strat.
I remember Tex Mars had like a video or a book about Freemasonry in Israel. There is some Freemason lodges in Israel. They have the pyramid and the G thing monument there, and I think there was like some underground cave Mason thing or something also. Lots of Jews in Masonry. Look it up. Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. I didn't say Jews in Masonry. I said Chabadniks in Masonry. Okay. Oh yeah, moon mogging. I just want to watch the last breakdown, a moon mogging video for the successful mission. Godspeed for Artemis 3.
4 brave explorers ready to ride the most powerful rocket NASA has ever launched.
Reed, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy.
We are going for our families.
We are going for our teammates.
We are going for all humanity.
Engines lit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster booster ignition, and liftoff. The crew of Artemis 2 now bound for the moon.
Houston integrity, grade 2.
This is a test flight, and so every single system aboard Orion is getting tested by humans for the first time. That is Earth in the center of your screen from the Orion spacecraft, looking back at all of us.
Houston is go for TLI. With this burn to the moon, we do not leave Earth. We choose it.
The four of us have looked at this moon our entire lives, and the way we are responding to what we are seeing out the window, it's just like we're a bunch of little kids up here. We cannot get enough of this.
That is something we have never seen before.
It's hard to wrap your mind around. Like, I mean that sincerely. It really bends your mind.
As we prepare to go out of radio communication, to all of you down there on Earth and around Earth, we love you from the moon.
Just seeing Tycho, there's mountains to the north. You can see Copernicus, Rainier Gamma. It's just everything from the training, but in 3 dimension and absolutely.
Dude, the back of the moon looks so different.
Kathy Moonjoy.
Superlative thumbs up. We just went sci-fi.
I think there is enough for all. The purpose of humanity is joy and lifting one another up, creating together.
This is a whole bunch of nothing, this thing we call the universe. You have this oasis, this beautiful place that we get to exist together.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, after Ignition, to me, the moment that I'm going to be most excited for is Splashdown. There's no question about that. Good shoots coming down off the West Coast.
Dude, all the moon landing stuff I've been watching the last few weeks is all so stupid.
The first series of parachutes.
And Houston, we're visual 2 drones out the window.
Main chute deployed.
We most importantly choose this moment to challenge this generation and in the next to make sure this record is.
I want to know if Professor Zhang thinks we went to the moon. I bet you he'll say we didn't.
It takes an army to pull a mission together like this, right? Across all 10 of our centers, all of our commercial partners, the international partners that come together to make this possible.
Brendan Hunt, I'm sorry you've been duped by a bunch of con artist liars on the internet.
So okay. So I looked up while you were watching that there. I looked up Chabad's relationship to Freemasonry, and actually, there are a lot of Chabadniks who are part of Freemasonry, and a lot of big like Chabad-linked Jews. When they died, like they had 2 funerals, one Scottish Rite funeral and one Jewish funeral. And in the article, it's talking about how the ideas might seem contradictory, but actually they share ideas related to monotheism and the importance of Solomon's temple and rebuilding a temple and all this other stuff. So they say that the one Chabad rabbi in the article is asked what he thinks about it, and he says some would say it's going outside the inner circle, but many will tolerate it. And then they go on to describe how it's very popular in the New York
area. Where are you reading this
also
from?
It's an article in J Weekly. Here,
okay. I thought so, because in the Tex Mars thing, I remembered him showing some like big hat Hasidics in like some. I think maybe one of them had his hand in his jacket or something in a photo.
Yeah. It says it philosophically resonates with Jews. It's over the Hebrew Bible, and it maintains some of the same rituals. It even says, right? So it's,
there you go.
Funny. So there are probably Chabadnik Jews, and then
Freemason
I did a
branches.
Freemasons.
Real Vision sent $5 on Rumble. The rabbis teach Kabbalah to the Goy Masons, and they eat it up.
Yeah, that's
all
true.
Masons Zionists.
Well, and then I did a
temple cultist.
Yeah, and I did a search on Reddit while you were doing this, and I searched the words Chabad and Freemason together, and I'm finding like hundreds of posts or replies of someone saying that they're both Chabad and Freemason. Like on the
Look, we gotta
Jewish
look into that a little bit more. Maybe cover that on a stream coming up.
Yeah,
that would be interesting. All right, guys. I will be back tomorrow, same time, around 2 p.m. Eastern. I got some more stuff. There was a Holocaust Remembrance Day, I believe, yesterday. There's some clips coming out from that. We'll play those. Maybe I want to see some of this UFO and angels documentary. There's going to be, more investigating that. Lee Strobel's evidence for the resurrection. We got some more stuff to cover tomorrow. Thanks, Amalek, for joining us and clipping those up, of course. Thanks, everybody, for the big donos, especially Dinsdale for getting us over the goal. You guys are amazing. All right. Like, share, subscribe, clip, share the link. You know what to do. And I will see you guys. Go to the gym, eat some beef, eat some steak, some beef jerky. And follow Amalek's new Twitter account as well. I've been retweeting him. He's on my timeline. Easy to find. Thanks for joining, Amalek. Yep. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.